Well, hello. This is the intro for what is going to be the third of the old home movies that I'm putting out. And I've become acutely aware that these are not particularly in order. So, actually, the third one is, to my delight, actually, contains all this footage that most of which occurs before I was born. So, that's really great. So my father, after the war, taught at Rensselaer in Troy, New York, and while he was there, my brother Cameron and my sister Kay were born. So there's footage in Troy, New York. That's mostly with my mom on grass and that kind of thing. And in many of these instances, there's a number of a lot of other kids around. Um, my guess is nobody would have any idea anymore about who all of these people are. Later on, there's some really interesting footage where my Aunt Mimi and my Uncle Les and my Uncle Bill are all there. And I think that's their my cousins or the little kids that are playing with my brothers and sisters. And yeah, so anyway, sadly, I'm actually recording this um, not that long after my sister Sue has passed away, which is an acute loss. She would have been able to contribute if I'd ever been able to sit with her actually, and we could have talked and just recorded it. She could have easily contributed a lot to whatever narrative I can provide. But there's so many good things in this video that I will do a voiceover. I wasn't going to, but I'm going. There's so many important little datums that bits of data that I can add, color that I can add, even with my minimum understanding of what's there, and I can get it wrong. I may even get it wrong in a few places, but I'll try not to. Where I speak, I'll try to be sure of what it is I'm saying. So, with that and adieu, and enjoy watching a video. Now, one of the things you'll see a great deal of in this video, before I go too far, is a video that after Rensselaer, my parents actually took 8mm movies when they piled everybody into a station wagon, and they drove to California. So there's some kind of tourist videos thrown in there, and that's actually them with their family on the way to California, where they lived for some period of time, several years, in the Stanford Village, while my father was building our home, where I would later grow up. And I was born March 3rd, 1951, but I don't know if they were in the new house or still in the village. I think they were still in the village, but not by much. They moved to the house pretty soon. Because later there are some movies I've seen them of me as an infant and the house being built. So, but they moved in before it was finished, before the house was built. So, okay, enjoy. Just as for identification, I'm pretty sure, obviously that's my mother, and I believe that's my sister Kay, being fed from a bottle there, and that's Sue, my oldest sister Sue, and the Little boy playing with the baby stroller is my brother Cameron. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense in this bit here. And this would have been taken in Troy, New York. There was a time we drove by and looked at that house. So that's my mom and Kay, my dad, putting Cameron up on his shoulders there. Once again, my mom with Sue on the left and Cameron on the right. That's my dad playing with Cameron. They had a dog, a collie. I have no idea who any of the rest of these people are. Now that dog looks to be the same dog that occurs later when they are at what I think of as my grandparents' house. They've thought of as just their parents' house back then, and that house was in Atlanta. So if this was all filmed in Atlanta, then these are my cousins, and everybody's playing there. Because I recognize the driveway and all that. That is definitely the driveway into Granddad's house coming down. That looks like Sue coming out and Nanny, and there's a big dog. I never heard anybody talk about the fact that they ever had a dog there. But there's some other, they had a pretty big dog, so I've never heard of that, but they obviously did. That's my granddad. That's my Aunt Mimi. Getting into a Plymouth, it looks like it. Yeah, I think so. That would have been less driving, because even then she didn't drive. And there's Uncle Les. Yeah, the big dog there. You know, I actually kind of remember the lawn. It didn't change over the years. My dad playing with the kids. That could be Nan. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like her. And there's Uncle Bill. This begins the kind of travelogue section on their way to California. And they went by where I think dam construction was and various things like that. This reel actually begins what I think is kind of historic footage. The Stanford Village was converted army barracks somewhere around where the railroad tracks run past Stanford University, between Stanford and the town of Palo Alto. That's my understanding. And there was a lot of barracks there. And you can actually kind of witness the baby boom in progress here. There's a lot of Stanford Village footage for the next probably 8 or 9 minutes, and even more of it right at the end of this. So because they were living in the village and they were building the house, and so there's some footage out by the new house and then living in Stanford Village. And I used to hear all about it. There's my mom and Cameron and Sue And like I said, they were converted army barracks. I don't know where the merry-go-round was. Now here's something a little funny. I believe that's K, and for a playpen, they've got chicken wire and 2x4s, and a blanket on the ground. And I don't know who that is. There's cats in, that would have been in the Stanford Village too. Good thing they had cats. So this is literally like looking back at, these are all baby boomers here. That's what's happening. After World War II, everybody came back. They had money in their pockets. They had grants and scholarships and whatever, what have you. Went back to college, started making families. I believe that's Sue and Kay. Oops. And there's Kay having an ice cream cone. I believe that's Cameron and Sue, and they're all going to pose for a bit of a picture here in a minute. And Kay's making a little bit of a mess with the ice cream cone. casual shot of my mom walking along with the kids. Sorry to insert myself right in the middle of the video, but I wanted to point something out. In the next scene, you will see my father's parents, my grandma and granddad. I didn't get to know my grandfather, but I knew my grandmother a little, only a little, as an infant. I have a few memories. What's important about this is that there's not a lot of photographs of them. I don't have a lot, and I certainly don't have a lot of 8mm. Now what's interesting is in the photographs we do have, they're mostly very formal, and so people look sort of stern. And in the shot that you're about to see, my grandparents, my parents and grandparents, and I don't know if I was there as a baby or not. I don't know. Possibly not yet. They had all gone out to the house in Altos Hills that they were going to build. And actually, it looks like they were just at the home site. Nothing basically has been done. It looks like there might be a shed or a shack on the property. But otherwise, it's just orchard. And when my granddad gets up and out, he doffs his hat like a salute. And he has a smile on his face and a sense of humor. And my grandmother's smiling too. And there's no other footage or photographs I know of that show this part of their personality. And given the kinds of things they went through in their lives, I just found that remarkable, and I wanted to interject that here so that you might enjoy that. I'm sure they drove up to Skyline, and this is just an overlook at what would one day become Silicon Valley, and back then was called Blossom Valley.